Good morning to all. Myself Dr. K. Manogaran, Associate Professor, Department of Biomedical Engineering. So today class we are going to discuss about 8051 basic components. So the 8051 microcontroller basic components will be discussed. Look at this. So this is an 8051 chip. Look at this 8089S551. So this is a single chip 8051 microcontroller. So the internal, it consists of CPU, RAM, ROM, IO ports, timer and serial ports. Look at this. The amount of timers, again ROM, RAM we are going to discuss. Look at this. It consists of 4 kilobyte internal ROM. So up to 4 kilobyte we can program it. But if you need more than the 4 kilobyte, we can go with an external memories. So actually 8051 is a 16-bit address bus. 2 power 16 is a 65536, that means 64 kilobyte. So externally we can interface up to 64 kilobyte. If the program size is less, so we can use internal RAM as 4 kilobyte. So the program size is less than 4 kilobyte, we can use this internal ROM. Look at this. Internal RAM size, this is 120 bytes, not kilobyte, it's only 120 bytes. So this 128 bytes, actually this is 256. This 128 bytes is a general purpose. Remaining 120 bytes that will be reserved for SFR and other internal calculations. Again, it consists of 4 IO ports. So what's the need for IO ports means? So we need to interface any LEDs or any switches or other things. So we need to have a IO ports, that is input output ports. So it consists of 4 IO ports, that is port 0, port 1, port 2 and port 3, totally 4 ports. Each port should have an 8 bits. So we can interface, for example, if you take a port 0, I can interface 8 switches or 8 LEDs. So depending upon that requirement. So totally 4 into 8, 32 IO lines will be available. So 32 IO lines can be used as in both input or output depending upon the applications. And it consists of 2 16-bit timer bar counter. First thing, the timer is used to generate a delays. And counter is used to count the external events. For example, I want to turn off a light after 5 minutes or after 25 seconds. So these things I need to generate a delays. So normally we use 2 types of delays. One is a software delay and another one is a hardware delay. So software delay, the process time is wasted. So the best preference is hardware timer. So this time, once if it is configured with hardware timer, this will be act as a timer. So meantime, processor can do some other task. So it counts internal pulses. After that certain time, it gives the timeout. So automatically that after that time, so it generates that particular time. So this will be used to turn on or turn off that particular timer or a counter or any lights or a switches. So counter is, it is used to count the external pulses. For example, how many people are entering inside our classroom, how many people are leaving. So this is an event. So each person enters inside this, it will be counted as a clock pulse and that counter will be incremented in the counter. So the same 16-bit timer can be act as a counter. So we can configure as an internal timer or a counter. So if it counts internal pulses, it is called as timer. If it counts external pulses, then it is called as counter. It consists of 2 timer bar counter. That means timer 0 and timer 1. Both can be used as a timer or counter, or one can be used as a timer or one can be used as a counter. Again, it supports 4 modes of operation that we can see later. Again, it consists of 1 serial interface. What is the need for serial interface means? Whenever you are connecting this microprocessor to some other microprocessor or this microprocessor with a personal computer, we need to have the serial ports. So serial port is the best suitable lines because it uses only 2 lines. One is for transferring data from this microprocessor to another microprocessor, and the another line is for another processor to this processor communication. So this is a bidirectional full duplex data transfer will be possible. Look at this block diagram of 8051 microcontroller. It consists of, this is the CPU, central processing unit. It is called as a processor. It will be connected with oscillators. So we connect this crystal and that will be connected to this oscillator. Actual crystal output is a sine waveform. So this will be converted as a square wave and that will be given as an oscillator circuit to the microprocessor. So microprocessor we get a clock pulses. The necessity of clock pulses is to synchronize all the events because we have so many blocks. All the blocks should be synchronized. So this will be done with this clock pulses. So look at this. This is the interrupt controller. So external interrupts will be connected to the microprocessor through this interrupt control logic. Look at this. This is the bus control logic. So all the control signals, address bus and data bus will be under control of this control bus. So necessary control signals, necessary address values, everything will be generated by this bus control logics. Look at this. This is a ROM. It will be size will be 4 kilobyte. So this is used for storing the program. ROM means read only memory. So only the data will be stored. We cannot we cannot rewrite the data. So once stored, that program will be retained throughout the time. Even power is off, the data will be retained in the ROM. That's why we prefer to use ROM for programs. Look at this. This is a 128 BAM. So ROM, we cannot only read, we cannot write any data. So whenever you are computing some results, so we need to store the results, so that will be stored only possible of RAM. So without RAM, we cannot store any values. Look at this. This is 4 IO ports. So port 0, port 1, port 2 and port 3. So it consists of IO lines. Also it will be multiplexed with the address lines and data lines. So each ports will be 8 bits. So port 0, port 1, port 2, port 3 all have an 8. So 4 into 8, 32 IO lines will be available here. Look at this. It have a timers bar counter. We have two things. So here we take it as a timer 1 or timer 2, or we can take it as a timer 0 and timer 1. So only two timers will be available. Look at this. This is the serial ports. So whenever we are connecting with microprocessor with some other things, we need to use this serial ports. Thank you.